Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we are taking a look back at the Tier 8 Premium German battleship, the Tirpitz. Now, the title of this video is probably something along the lines of buying this ship is one of the biggest mistakes players can make. And that is very true, especially for newer players. The Tirpitz has a bit of a reputation following it, in that it is a noob ship. And it's not really wrong. So what happens with the Tirpitz, and many of you that have been playing for some time know this, and it's not just the Tirpitz, but any other premium ship, but it seems to happen a lot with the Tirpitz. Player starts the game, they join up, new account and all this stuff, they start playing, and then they get a little bored of grinding, and they decide to purchase a higher tier premium ship. And Tirpitz, for a very long time, was one of the more popular higher tier premiums for these new players to purchase. And today it still very much is as well. So it got a couple of nicknames, one the most popular being the Tirpitz, because players were playing it completely incorrectly, and yeah, you could probably still see that today too with several other ships, but Tirpitz still has that reputation following her. And it's a mistake I made when I first started playing this game. I got very tired of grinding when I got to around the New Mexico, going up the American Battleship line, and I decided to buy a higher tier premium, and I bought the Tirpitz because, well, it's the Tirpitz, sister ship of the Bismarck, and since the Bismarck is so well known and famous for the Battle of the Denmark Strait and the hunt for Bismarck and such, might as well buy her sister ship, right, the Tirpitz. I bought it, played a couple of battles in it, realized I had no idea what I was doing. I was trying to snipe in it because, like, oh my god, it's got a 21-kilometer range, you know, coming from tier 6 ships, which have like 17 and 16-kilometer range and stuff. I played it completely wrong first couple of matches, docked it, never touched it again until I actually got up to tier 8 in the line. So today we're going to be doing just like we have been the past week or so, and you guys really seem to be enjoying these videos. We're going to take a look back at the Tirpitz, look at her stats and features, and talk about how she performs in today's World of Warships, and if she's still worth picking up for you guys today. So kind of like a re-review. Actually, you know what? I've never reviewed the Tirpitz on this channel, even though it's, you know, one of my more played ships, but never done a proper review of it. But anyway, here we go. So the Tirpitz, of course, is the Bismarck sister ship. So between the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, almost everything is exactly the same. There's two major differences with the ships. The first being that Tirpitz gets torpedoes, Bismarck does not. Bismarck gets hydroacoustic search, Tirpitz does not. And Bismarck has better AA than the Tirpitz. Other than that, the ships are pretty much identical in every other element of the two ships. So that being said, of course, the armor on the Tirpitz and the Bismarck is both very good. You get that nice 32mm armor all the way around on the bow and the stern, but in the midsections, the upper armor belt is 160mm, the main belt's 315, and you do have a nice 60mm wraparound bow. And then on the stern, you get that nice little 60mm stern plate, and then a 32mm stern, like I said. Stern and bow deck are both 32, while the main deck is 50mm. And I'll throw up an image of it up here on screen so you can see her armor profile. Just like every other German battleship, especially the ones at higher tiers, she does have a turtleback citadel. So you won't really get citadeled at all, really, unless you're turning very hard over or you get hit by some very long-range plunging fire from some very large caliber guns. So, of course, the armor is very good for close-in fighting. However, you can still get the absolute crap slapped out of you. In the match you're watching right now, I accidentally demonstrate this as I wasn't minding my broadside and get slapped by an Amagi here. And yeah, it's not citadel damage, but it might as well have been. You see how much the ship will eat and just the sheer chunks of damage that this armor scheme will eat. And yes, it's not citadel damage, you can recover more of it than if it was, but I mean, losing 20-30k in one slap might as well be citadel damage at that point. But it does allow you to escape from some certain close-range situations where you definitely would not have in a ship with a different armor scheme. And for the hit points, she gets 69,300, which is pretty decent for a Tier 8. It only gets 22% torpedo damage reduction. Now, The artillery, this is with my current build on the ship, which is a full secondary build, which, I mean, it's a German battleship, mainly the Tirpitz. It's a knife fighter, and secondary is what I build it for. But of course, you get 8 15-inch guns with a 26-second reload time, maximum dispersion of 275 meters. The HE is actually not terrible. You get a 34% chance of starting a fire per shell on guns that reload in 26 seconds. On paper, that's not bad, but the accuracy, which we'll get to that in a moment, yeah. The AP does a maximum damage of 11,600. Both the AP and HE come out of the guns at 820 meters a second, which is really nice. It's a nice, fast shell. And she has a maximum range of 21.5 kilometers. Not that you're going to be shooting at that range with this ship. Secondary, she does have 16 of the 105mm guns that reload in 2.9 seconds. They have a 5% chance starting a fire, and they can pin 26mm of armor. And with a full secondary build, they can get out to 11.5 kilometers. And then you also have 12 of the 150s, which can pin 38mm of armor, 8% chance of starting a fire, and 6.4 second reload time, and again 11.5 kilometer range. That is, of course, with a full secondary build on their modules and all. The torpedoes are the standard German battleship, or German cruiser torpedoes, I should say. You get 2 of them per, one per side, 4 torps in each tube. They have a range of 6 kilometers, travel at 64 knots, and they reload in 90 seconds. She does also get the ASW planes, of course. Like I said, not that great. She is a really fast ship at 32 knots with the speed flag equipped. She has a turning circle radius of 850 meters and a 16-second rudder shift time. Concealment with no concealment build on it at all is 14.3 kilometers. Now, you can go with a concealment build, and I'm sorry, I do have the modular equipped, my bad, but no commander skill. If you go with the commander skill, this is actually a pretty stealthy battleship for how fast and well armored it is, but I don't do that. I go with the secondary build, of course, because it's, well, me. And for her consumables, like I said, she doesn't get hydro, so you just have damage con, repair, and your choice of spotter or fighter. I take fighter because of the lack of AA, and again, this ship isn't the best sniper. So what does that make the Tirpitz? That makes the Tirpitz pretty much a very specialized ship. She's designed for knife fighting. She has torpedoes, great secondaries, guns that are better than they used to be, but still not great. She only has 8 guns at tier 8, and they are 15-inch guns. They're not 16-inch guns. Which means that in some situations when you're top tier, there's some ships where you can't punch through their armor like you could with a 16-inch gun. But you only have a 26-second reload time, so that saves it there. And when you're really knife fighting from like 10 kilometers in, the guns are fine. I do get trolled in the match you're watching right now. When shooting at a completely broadside Amagi from 7 kilometers away. The guns normally aren't like that. If you guys recall back, I would say it's a few patches ago, but now it's several patches ago, they changed up the German battleship dispersion. They gave it the American battleship dispersion, which made it a whole hell of a lot better in terms of the ellipse. That's what they switched out, the American battleship ellipse and the German battleship ellipse. So the shells are a lot more consistent than they used to be. Used to back in the day, good luck hitting anything past like 9 kilometers in the Tirpitz with the main battery guns, or any German battleship for that matter, that wasn't the Grosser Kurfürst. What helped out the Grosser Kurfürst is that she has 12 guns instead of just 8 like all the tier 8 through tier 9, and of course the Gneisenau now too, with her only 6 guns, because she doesn't have the dual guns per turret. She has the triple guns per turret. Now, with today's World of Warships, the Tirpitz, how has she held up? She's one of the oldest premiums in the game, actually. She was the first German battleship to be added to the game. When she first came out, the whole, matches were just Tirpitzes, because of course, Tirpitz, German battleship hype. So, in today's World of Warships with the Commander rework, she's actually gotten a little bit better with her secondaries, because now, since this is a knife fighter, and you're supposed to be, like up in the action, with the secondaries being allowed to fire on both sides, and the German battleships getting that built-in 20% boost to their secondary dispersion, even if you don't have manual fire for secondaries active, you can have both sides of your secondaries going off and just going absolutely ham. And, that's good for that situation when you do find yourself surrounded, but again, if you're in a situation when you're surrounded and brawling, it's not the best situation to be in, but either way, that is an improvement. You do have both sides of your secondaries going off, and with the new secondary skills, it is quite good when you get the secondary accuracy all the way down after the 45 seconds of firing. And you can see that I do absolutely bully the Yamagi that bullied me. Bullied him back by just having my secondaries absolutely raining down on him for quite some time. They do chew through his health quite nicely. Now, a lot of people are probably already commenting, oh, you don't have IFHE on your build, what are you doing? IFHE would, of course, get the 105s over that 32mm threshold to where you can, pin the last major threshold at higher tier. But it cuts your fire chance in half. And just like with the Palmer, I'd rather not cut my fire chance on my 15-inch guns in half when I have 15-inch guns at tier 8. A tier that gets up to tier 10 so much. That means when you have to load HE in the guns, because some high tier 9 or 10, or even tier 8, Battleship is bow tanking you, and you can't, show your side off to get your secondaries on them, or they're outside your secondary range, you've now cut the 34% chance of fire on your main battery guns down to about, 17%? Which is absolutely terrible. So I'd rather not do that. And plus, too, the 105s do pin up to 26mm. Which means that that's most cruisers you're going to see, again, unless you get double up tiered. If you are top tier, then you don't care at all that you don't pin 32 unless you're going against another German battleship. But a 5% chance starting a fire per gun, and you have freaking 16 of these guns, that's pretty good. And with the 150s too, they can pin 32. They can pin up to 38. So you're good there. So in those elements, she's improved a bit. Again, you can argue that the original secondary skills were a lot better, and sure, in many ways I'd agree so, but at the end of the day, you do have more guns firing with that. Now, other than that, the ship hasn't really been affected too much by certain changes in the game. The IFHE work probably actually helped you out a lot, because you have less of those HE spamming cruisers that can, of course, pin your armor and then still have a pretty decent fire chance on their guns. And like with the range reduction on a lot of higher tier HE spamming cruisers, like Small Lens, that freaking 19km Small Lens was just a blight on this game, and I'm glad it's gone. So you don't really have to worry about that anymore. But either way, the higher tier meta has, of course, like we talked about with the Kremlin, been pushed out quite a bit. And the switch up in the ellipse was very nice, and Tirpitz can actually land shots at ranges around 17-18 kilometers, which I couldn't dream of this ship doing 3 years ago. Like, no way in hell could Tirpitz consistently land shells at that range. Is it good at doing it today? No, but it can do it, which again is a lot better of a statement than I could say about the Tirpitz at ranges like that 3 years ago. But we've also had a major increase in very large guns at higher tier. And remember what I said at the beginning of this video, where the Tirpitz, it absolutely eats damage. All German battleships do because of the armor layout. It's great at close range, terrible at long range. So now we have a lot of 457mm plus guns at tier 9 and 10, which this ship is going to see a lot of, and it's going to get the absolute crap slapped out of it, and they will chunk you for like 15k a pop. Anybody who's watched the streams when we're playing ships like that at higher tier, German battleships are some of those ships' favorite targets because of that very reason. Plus, as the absolutely massive superstructure of German battleships, and you can get chunked through your superstructure for an easy 13-14k by even 15-inch or 16-inch guns as well. But again, like I've said before with close and brawling ships, when this ship is in its element, it is in its element, and it is absolutely terrifying to play against. Those torpedoes are absolutely the biggest ace up your sleeve you can have, because that will absolutely level the playing field against whomever you're brawling against. 8 15-inch guns, they don't pack too much of a punch, but they have really good pins because they are German guns. They have really flat shell arc, so again, at close range, its aiming is really easy. The velocity too kind of helps with medium range firing because you don't have to lead it by like your entire screen like you do with like the North Carolina. But overall today it's okay. It's a good ship if you like brawling, you're good at brawling. If you have Lucians, this ship is absolutely amazing. Like any other German battleship, once you get 100 sector hits, you get that boost to your main battery reload time. And if you somehow do manage to land, what was it, 130, 140 shells when the Tirpitz, you can get the main battery loader. I've only done that once on like the curve first. It was pretty freaking stupid, but yeah, getting a 7.5% boost to your reload time with Lucians is pretty nice. But yeah, it's okay. Would I say a new player should pick it up? Absolutely not. It's going to be really frustrating to play. You're going to get chunked a lot, but the more experienced player that enjoys brawling, you can still have a blast with Tirpitz. It's fantastic when they have the tier 8 brawls. Convoys mode, ironically, Tirpitz finally gets to rage convoys in convoys mode when that game mode's available. It's fantastic in that. Any type of game mode where there's close-in fighting, operations, things like that would allow tier 8 ships, this ship is great in. But for random battles, when you're top tier, like the match you're seeing right now, it's quite potent, as you guys can see in this match. But when you're bottom tier, it's pretty painful, especially, again, if there's either an HE spammy ship or something with very big guns on the other side. You're going to get chunked because you're a German battleship and you're nice and chunky. But it's still a pretty good ship. I enjoy her a lot. I play her quite a bit. She's one of my more played German battleships. But again, definitely not for everyone. Definitely not for new players. New players, avoid this ship until you've had quite some experience with the game. Then go ahead and pick her up. Oh, and also, of course, the not so great AA. You reenact Tirpitz's actual demise quite a lot when you're playing against CVs, because again, you barely have any AA, especially by tier 8 standards, and CVs are going to have their way with you too, so make sure you have an AA buddy if you're going around the map. So that's the Tirpitz, guys. Still a pretty good ship, just again really frustrating to play in the higher tier, especially tier 10 games in the current meta. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you got Tirpitz, how you enjoying her, or have you kind of just docked her and waiting for some more changes to come to the game? Let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. On our way to 30,000 subs. We're getting very, very close to that goal, thanks to you guys. And I am planning on doing a giveaway for that goal, so make sure you stick around for that. Again, hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday and have a wonderful week. And hope to catch you guys in the next one.